Today, we're not just going to be hearing what I have to say about Fortnite. Today, I'm going to be reacting to your own, I guess you could say, Fortnite hot takes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels, and welcome back to Talk at Clen, everybody, where I ask you guys to jump into the Discord server. If you are new here, by the way, Discord will be in the pinned comment description down below. Help us make videos like this, and I ask you guys to tell me something, talk to me about something, hit me with a hot take. With that being said, guys, let's get straight into it for today. Fortnite should add a feature to redeem codes, V-Buck cards, and others inside of the game. Like, they want to push this metaverse, but you have to go out of your way to a website to redeem stuff. Maybe they could still keep the website up anyway for people who don't want to log in just for that, but I don't get why that's only the option. Same goes for website events. I just don't get why. You know, that's a really good point, especially when you talk about it being the metaverse. Maybe, hey, you know what? You can find everything in Fortnite except for redeeming the V-Buck cards, except for redeeming our own currency. You would think that they would make it easier, and I don't know how many people have their parents play games. My dad has had a couple V-Buck cards that he has never even bothered to use because he doesn't want to go on the Fortnite. He doesn't want to go on the Epic Games website. He wants to just do it in game, and he just has them laying around, and they've been laying around for years, to be honest with you. So I think that this is something that Epic Games should absolutely do. I don't understand why they don't do it, but I mean, yeah, I have no clue. This season isn't bad because of the cars. It's bad because of the horrible loot pool. The nerfs should also only be applied to competitive play. I agree with that second part, but that's interesting that the loot pool's bad. I think for me personally, it's just been a Chapter 5 problem. That's what I personally didn't like with the loot pool. The AR feels the same. The sniper bullet drop off is absolutely ridiculous, but they've done a little bit better. Like, I really like the Magneto item. By the time this video is coming out, the Pirates of Caribbean update will be live, but I haven't played with that yet. But they've done a good job adding some fun, goofy stuff as the season progressed. So I kind of agree, kind of don't agree with it. I feel like OG Chapter 1 as a new permanent mode would actually work. It would make the player base way more happy, and as a second mode, wouldn't get stale as you could still play the main BR mode. I feel World of Warcraft Classic proves it would work, as this still has a very solid player base and doesn't interfere with the main WoW game permanent. Now, I can't say because I don't know anything personally about World of Warcraft. I didn't even know that they had that for World of Warcraft, but for Fortnite, this community seems to be a special little breed of something else, okay? Because here's the thing, you'll still have the main BR mode, yeah, but for all of the people who want to play OG Fortnite, all of the people who would come back to the game, 0% of them would play the Chapter 5 map. How many people in your life do you know that you're like, if it's not OG, it's not for me? But I understand that there's exceptions to that rule, but people got tired of it in Chapter 1. Why would they not get tired of it if it's still in the game, especially a map without updates? The reality is, it would get stale. For you, Y Guy, it might not get stale. For me, I know it personally wouldn't get stale for me. I would play on it, and I would enjoy myself. But for the vast majority of people, it would get stale. It would ruin the memories that we've made throughout the entirety of Chapter 1 that was already beginning to happen in Season 9, Season X, even a little bit before that. But bringing it back for 1 month seemed to be the way to do it, in my opinion. Just enough time for us to have fun. And I wasn't having any problems with it getting stale or anything, but I did hear people already talking about it not hitting the same kind of, but I understand that's like still anecdotal evidence, so it's a tough topic. At the end of the day, it definitely would get stale for the vast majority of people. Chapter 5 is the worst decision Epic ever made. While in my opinion, OG was peak Fortnite, Epic made a huge mistake with the direction they took the game in afterwards. Instead of using OG as a way to backtrack on the mistakes of Chapter 3 and more so Chapter 4 made, such as their loopholes or art style, and bring things back to be much closer to what Fortnite used to be, they instead doubled down on the Chapter 4 direction, which is shown by the abysmal player counts in comparison to the previous chapters, has yet again killed the interest to the mainstream. You mentioned how there are some players who only want OG Fortnite, but the first few days of Chapter 5 proves that players were actually interested in the game. For the first week, Chapter 5 was hitting the same player counts as OG. The problem was that Chapter 5 was so drastically different than OG, it wasn't what they had come for, and it killed any potential Chapter 5 had. Instead of going for a fun and creative cartoony shooter, Epic doubled down on the metaverse and soulless realistic art style that's bland and forgettable that Chapter 4 set up. They removed everything that made Fortnite appealing and set it apart from every other game. How many other games offer the same experience as modern day Fortnite? The answer is every other battle royale. Sure, there are builds and it's a unique gimmick, but what else is there? Other games have mythic weapons, boss fights, vehicles, weapon mods, and they all have their own unique gimmick and creative art styles, but Fortnite only has builds at this point. You know what Chapter 1 and to what certain extent Chapter 2 and 3 had. They had creativity, they had heart, they had so much stuff that you would never see done in any other game. What other game can you shoot yourself out of a cannon with an RPG as a banana? None. That just wouldn't be made in modern Fortnite. It's what happened to the franchise like Halo. They moved away from what people wanted to appeal to everyone, but it ended up appealing to no one. There is a ton to unpack there. First of all, I do disagree that the Chapter 4 direction, as you mentioned it, is the decision that really isn't what the players necessarily wanted. I've agreed with everybody in the sense where Chapter 5, when it comes to Battle Royale, I have agreed with the metaverse being a good thing. I have agreed with the Find It in Fortnite thing being a good thing. I'm talking about the way they handled Battle Royale in Chapter 5. There's a lot of things. I think the graphics realism was too much. I hate the UI. I think that the updates haven't really hit the same, although Epic Games is trying. There's a lot, and it's important to note, if I'm going to talk about this, right? It's important to note that I have been pretty critical on Chapter 5 in general. It's just the metaverse that I'm pro of. And I understand that you're going to come back and say, like, the reason why Battle Royale doesn't hit the same is because of the metaverse. I don't think that's true. I think that's a live event, Tim Sweeney, Donald Mustard storyline type issue, okay? Regardless, the only thing that I really hard disagree with over here is Chapter 4 was awesome. For some reason, a lot of people hear Chapter 4 and just think Wilds, but Season 1, Season 2, Season 4, and OG were all part of Chapter 4. So I think that Chapter 4 did, when you want to talk about the Chapter 4 direction, I think the Chapter 4 direction was fantastic, to be honest with you. I understand the storyline suffered. I get that. I understand the live event suffered. I understand that as well. But for the most part, it was really good. But at the end of the day, you're not necessarily wrong in saying that Chapter 5, the Battle Royale, has kind of taken the soul out of Fortnite a little bit. But I don't know what you meant behind this comment, but it seems to me like you're kind of talking like nobody's having fun over here. You're talking about the player counts, but in reality, when you take a look at things like player counts, you got to think like no matter what, has nothing to do with OG. The new chapter numbers would be there either way or very close to. That's just what happens with new Fortnite season. Now, when we talk about the downfall of Fortnite, it's natural for the player base to decline around now, and it's going to pick up in OG. It's going to pick up at the end of the year, and in Chapter 6, it's going to have kind of the same amount of players coming through. So there are things I agree and I disagree with this, but regardless, I really appreciate your input over here, Michael. And anyways, let's continue on to the next post. Fortnite should let you make playlists in the lobby so you can listen to your favorite songs and artists as an order that you would like automatically without having to listen to a song on repeat or manually go into the lobby section. They should also allow you to listen to songs and artist musics in-game when playing Battle Royale outside of cars. You can change the volume of how loud you want it compared to other game audio. Well, you can change the audio. That's in the settings. I think that's a whole music thing for it, but unless you were talking about separately, but hey, it's a UI change that I'm here for. I still think it needs a complete rehaul. Battle Stage is a complete failure. It's either an absolute breeze or I get effed over by having bad RNG. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I still haven't played Battle Stage. I'm a Fortnite Festival enjoyer, but I still haven't played Battle Stage. I've been hearing too many horrible things about it. But what we were talking about in a previous video is apparently the festival community, or the festival devs and the festival community, have been kind of really working together nicely, and they said that they're going to update it, make it a little bit better, so I hope that's the case. I just can't say that for sure. With a lot of conversation going on at the moment about a possible FNAF collaboration coming to Fortnite on August 6th, I've compiled a list of reasons as to why I'm fairly confident that this collab is 99% likely to be between FNAF and Fortnite. 1. First off, yes, the most talked about reason is due to both the collaboration reveal date and also the date of a new Fortnite update are both set for the same day. However, on August 5th, the day before this update, as part of FNAF's 10th anniversary, Dawko, a FNAF content creator, and Scott Cawthorn, the creator of FNAF, are set to have an interview where Dawko asks the creator questions beyond current, upcoming, and future FNAF projects in the works. During this time, I think it's likely Scott will reveal what this collaboration is during the interview to get everyone hyped up, and if the collab is with Fortnite, it would drop the following day during the update. 2. Both the FNAF community and the Fortnite community have wanted this collaboration to happen for a long time coming. Dawko specifically believes that this collab will be with Fortnite and is hoping for it to be the case. However, as of right now, there is no confirmation of this. 3. The FNAF community and the Fortnite community have been speculating as to what this collaboration could be, for all and arrows pointed to it being Fortnite. Beforehand, some people believe this collab would be Dead by Daylight and for Roblox. However, recently Dead by Daylight released the teaser for the next big collab, which also drops August 6th. However, it is not with FNAF but with Castlevania, so Dead by Daylight has been crossed out. Also, Roblox recently had an announcement for a FNAF type game mode. However, this mode is not officially endorsed by Scott Games, the creators behind FNAF, and is just an inside a fan-made game. Therefore, the only other plausible theory would either be Fortnite. 4. Scott has officially said himself that he will not collaborate with other companies unless his own community wants him to. 5. With the announcement of what Scott Games has planned to show off during the 10th anniversary, they announced a game called 5 Laps at Freddy's, which is believed to be before a racing type game with animatronics and go-karts kind of like Mario Kart. If this is the case, this will make it plausible for Fortnite to create cosmetics for all of their modes. You could have the main 4 animatronics from the first game as skins with pickaxes, backblinks, etc. for Battle Royale. For Rocket Racing, you can include these go-kart type vehicles as cars for Rocket Racing. You could bring the instruments and some of the characters using games, as well as jam tracks by the Living Tombstone. And finally, you could do some Lego kits for the pizzeria from the first game. That all makes sense. I've heard it, and that all makes sense. And I didn't know about the creators, so thank you for that, Sizzo. But there's been so many times now where we've been talking about the possibility of a FNAF collaboration, and this is why, that's why. Now it seems more so than ever that we're going to have a FNAF collaboration, but I'm at the point with it, kind of like where I'm with Nintendo, where it's like, okay, when it comes, it comes. I'm going to be hyped for the FNAF community, but I am not going to be looking forward to it. All of that makes sense, but of course, we can't say for sure. Fortnite Reload is great and can be better than Battle Royale if they do it right, but they need to patch in a solo mode right now. I don't like dealing with brain dead teammates that never help me and leave as soon as they die. Yeah, you know what? There is a way that they could just integrate a solo mode for it, but yeah, I was about to say, would people really play it? But I feel like people would play that. I'm kind of stuck on the thought where it's like, okay, I like to have teammates. I never like playing solo games, but there definitely are a lot of people who enjoy playing solo games. But it makes sense why Epic Games didn't add it, and it started off with squads. And I'm glad to see that they introduced duos as of right now. And I actually don't know. I don't think trios is part of it. But regardless, yeah, I agree they do need to add a solo mode. I don't know about right now, but soon. Not sure about anyone else, but it's quite upsetting that the competitive players and OG lovers got their own mode after all this, and we still have to deal with the nerfs and pubs. I'm happy for them, in this mode was something that was needed for the competitive players, but now we're stuck with the nerfs. I'm not someone who usually cries at Epic for a revert, but now that this is out, I would really like to see a buff to everything that was nerfed. Okay, this is an interesting take because I kind of agree with it, but I hate going like, the competitive players and the OG lovers, those guys, you know? They were understandably upset with this season. I still think, and I've said it a million times on this channel, that competitive and casual need to be completely split. That would just solve everything. And I do think that things need to be buffed in Battle Royale just a little bit. But not necessarily because, like, I'm upset that the competitive players and the OG players got what they want. It's just unfortunate that Epic Games doesn't split the loot pools, man. What in the world happened to Fortnite live events being on the map instead of creative? Like, they used to be so hyped and fun and no one disliked them, so why did they stop? My friend started in Chapter 3 Season 1 and only experienced the events from Chapter 3 Plus, which was only 3 live events in almost 3 years. And he's sad he missed on the Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 ones. His favorite was the mech event. I just wish newer players could experience the hype events the old ones did. So, here's an interesting thing to note about that, because we just made a video recently talking about Aiko talking about live events, and what Aiko had to say is he refers to these mini events we've been getting in Chapter 5 as just straight up live events because they are on par or even better than a lot of the events we got in Chapter 1. So you could look at it that way, but then Chapter 2 kind of knocked everything out of the park, right? But unfortunately, it's not in the vision of Tim Sweeney, man. Donald Mustard's not here anymore, and they wanted to take apart the live event team and focus on doing other stuff for the metaverse. That's something that I don't necessarily think was right, but you never know from behind the scenes. Maybe it was costing them money and the player counts just weren't worth it. I don't know. That's just random speculation, but that is what happened to them. Donald Mustard is gone, and Tim Sweeney's using the teams to focus more on the metaverse, and live events just aren't a priority anymore. I hate that Fortnite has to bring back OG whenever Fortnite is dying. Fortnite Reload was basically Fortnite's last try to save their dying game. I don't know if this is satire, because Fortnite's not dying. Fortnite Reload wasn't here as their last try to save their dying game. No matter how much you guys want Fortnite to die, the day is not coming. The downfall is not on its way, and it's not going to be on its way anytime soon. I'm noticing when you point out that people didn't like Chapter 1, you point to things people were very critical of. Yes, people didn't like a lot of things in Chapter 1, such as planes, ballers, mechs, spray meta, but a lot of that is just a vocal minority. Then you continue by saying a lot of praise it got in Chapter 2 onwards was nostalgia, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. Going to old Chapter 1 videos and old comment sections show people were loving the game. They just had a few complaints. Some of the things you point out as well just aren't true. People did love sub streams, and while people complain about things like ballers, many people still found them fun, which is an important distinction. A lot of the things you point out are things that people had fun using, but weren't fun to have used against them, which was what all the complaining was about, which was what players mean by I love the planes and I love ballers. There were definitely players who were NPCs and just go off of what their favorite streamer and YouTuber said, but it will always be the case, and most of the time they're a minority. Most players enjoyed Chapter 1 but had complaints. That's true about every game. People enjoyed Halo Infinite but wished it was feature complete. People enjoy TF2 but they were critical towards Valve and their mismanagement of the game. People enjoy Overwatch 2 but are critical towards Activision and their greedy practices. That's why up until recent, the criticism towards Fortnite was never about the base elements of the game, but specific items, skins, and business practices. People enjoyed Fortnite. Don't take this the wrong way, though. I absolutely love your content. This is just more something that was on my mind after you're watching the Truth About Chapter 1 video. Dude, I appreciate you checking out video and dropping your comment over here. This is what it's all about. I'm reacting to your takes, so thank you for coming over and thank you for giving that video a chance. So, something that I do talk about, and I've been making this point more recently when I speak about the Fortnite community. The Fortnite community itself is a loud minority. It's the minority and it's such a fraction of the player base. But when you say the Fortnite community, some people take that and they go, okay, you mean every single player ever. That makes sense. I understand where that's coming from, but you can't call that a community. There's one online community, that being the Fortnite community. Ultimately, the Fortnite community is a fraction of the player base. And when I say this though, it's absolutely just correct. Back in the day, you can't just go around and pick different comment sections and go, okay, well, people like this, people like that. The reality is, and I've had a few comments, which is very nice to see now that I'm like the only one that's remembering this correctly, but that is the reality. If you were part of this community, if you were part of YouTube videos, of Reddit, Twitter, whatever it may be, and again, I understand that's a minority. I understand that. But that is all that you heard was negativity, complaints, cries, and to say that like, well, I have fun when I use this weapon and I don't have fun when it's used against me. They don't go online and talk about how much fun the ballers are. They go online to complain about how they hate it when someone's rolling around a baller and you can't shoot them. The reality is, people hated a lot of Chapter 1, especially the later half of Chapter 1. A lot of people are NPCs, but like you said, that is a minority of players. The online community for Fortnite is the minority of the player base. The vast majority of the people just come, they play the game. That's what I'm talking about when I mean the Fortnite community. I think Fortnite dug themselves too far into the grave they can't crawl out of. They've gone to extreme lengths to advertise this metaverse slogan and gameplay made deals with some very big companies like Lego, for example, and have spent way too much money on songs for Fortnite Festival to the point where they can't just reverse everything and go back to the Battle Royale roots. Now, every time the community wants something new for BR, they just give us Chapter 1 again so we can shut up for a month or two. I feel like with the shift in focus at Epic Games, Battle Royale will now just become the nostalgia mode with them milking every previous chapter so they can call it OG. So, obviously, I would imagine you're talking about Fortnite Reload. I don't think Fortnite Reload at all is just a, hey, here's Chapter 1, shut your mouth. I think that is an incredible mode. If it's going to be permanent, it's one of my favorite modes that Fortnite's ever dropped, to be honest with you. I'm still barely playing Battle Royale. I love the weapons in there. I love the choice of loot pool. I love the updates. Map, I don't really care about. I can play on any map, to be honest with you, but I love what they've done over here. I know that there have been problems with the metaverse right now. I understand, but again, it's in its infancy. This is what I talk about all the time. It's in its infancy, and I'm very, very excited for the way that they're going to handle Chapter 6. There is a lot of obstacles that they've had to overcome right now. A ton of them. And I can't imagine what it's like to be a developer over there. Does that excuse the way for Chapter 5 being the way that it is? Yes and no. I understand the complaints and arguments for it and against it, but I think that as time goes on, all of this will be okay. The Find It in Fortnite thing, the metaverse, it will all work out perfectly. If they stuck to Battle Royale forever, I think that is the bad business move. People like to talk about all the time of Epic Games being a not so smart business. That couldn't be further from the truth. I think this is the best thing they could have done. They just needed to execute it a little bit better, and I'm confident that they will do just that. I think a lot of people might hate Fortnite now, but when it comes to next season, they will love it. When it comes to Fortnite making terrible seasons, they always seem to come back with a banger, and the community is happy again. For example, Chapter 2 Season 6 being the worst season in history to most, then next season, Chapter 2 Season 7 being taken very well and a lot of people loving it, including myself. Chapter 4 Season 3, people are saying is another awful season and the worst of Chapter 4. Then the next season being Chapter 4. Season 4 had a lot of praise and love, being another great season for the game. While Fortnite may be in a tough spot right now, people tend to forget that we've been through bad stuff before, but Fortnite has come back stronger than ever with the next season looking like another Marvel season. I really do think next season could be a top 10 season, and I get most people think it won't be it, but Charlie knows Marvel insanely well. I feel like next season could actually be one of my favorite ones, as Charlie knows what he's doing. You know what's funny? I never even thought of the connection with Charlie and Marvel. I never thought about that. How did I never think about that? But in general, Chapter 2 Season 4 was one of the most beloved seasons of all time. Epic Games knows this. They'll have Disney watching over their shoulder, hopefully. Hopefully. That might not be the case, but I hope so. But you're totally right in the sense that every single time that some people don't like a little bit of something Fortnite's going on, hey, the summer event's here, Epic Games is on vacation, you don't hear from them for a little bit. Oh my god, this game's finished. What happened, Epic Games? Like, it's insane how people just jump ship and they go, the game's dead to me. That means nobody else in the world is playing it just because I'm bored. That means nobody else must love it. Nobody else is enjoying themselves. Hey, Gamer265 over here hates Fortnite. That means everybody else does too. Game's finished. Game's ridiculous. Fortnite always comes back. I don't even think they're necessarily in a rut right now, but they never are. That's the problem. They never are. They're never really stuck. It's just seasons that don't necessarily hit the same as some of the fan favorites, dude. You know? But you're totally right. It seems like after all this time, they're finally listening to their community again. A lot of people keep saying that they do listen, yet it took them a very long time to finally consider separating the loot pool between casuals and competitive. If Epic Games did care about their clear frustration between casuals and competitive, they would have separated the loot pool a very long time ago. The next important thing they gotta do is be consistent with the updates. Fix the locker and discovery tab, and get genuinely talented maps be the main focus of creative. Creative's being taken over by brain-rotting maps and super generic 10-minute to make maps. These maps make creators lose motivation to do their work on their own maps because it'll only get a fraction of what the effortless maps make. This can be fixed by further promoting genuinely talented creators or events revolving those maps. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know why, to talk about your first point, I don't know why they took so long to start separating stuff. I hope that they continue doing so, but to be honest, I've talked about this a million times on the channel, so I'm going to keep it very brief. It's something that they should do. I'm not confident they're going to continue doing it, but I can hope for the best. The next important thing is you need to fix the locker. I agree with that. The discovery tab, there still are issues with it, but I think I'm not saying that you're saying this, Noah. I'm not saying that because, of course, I don't know what's in your brain, but you see a lot of people talking about the state of discovery. There are issues with discovery, and I think that there needs to be like, I don't have the fix for it. Something like a little bit of a rotation between promoting a bunch of different maps, but at the end of the day, these red versus blue and effortless maps, the pit maps, they get plays. I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot of Fortnite players, and myself included, I very rarely play like these fantastic creator experiences. I want to play creative. I want to play finest realistic. I want to play Biozone Wars. Those are the types of maps I enjoy playing. People, it's important to note that people, as of right now, which is going to change as the metaverse progresses, but people play Fortnite to play Fortnite. Things like box fight, things like zone wars, things like a battle royale. People are so talented. People are so great at what they do and can make fantastic maps. But it's important for these creators to not feel so entitled to just say, these maps, I put so much more work into my map. Why is this one getting all the plays? Because it's fun. It doesn't matter how low effort it is. And I don't know, have I made a video talking about the whole thing? I wanted to talk a little bit more about that, but there needs to be a little bit of a solution, but it's important to note, like, at the end of the day, these maps do get plays. So is it really worth knocking them down? But I understand the argument, well, these maps only get plays because they're easy to find. I get that. And there needs to be a balance between the two. I just don't see that part of the argument really focused on at all. I really hate that we have to wait until Chapter 6 to get the changes that are a must for real fans of Fortnite. I'm mostly talking about the locker. I get why that would be a low priority, and it makes sense for it to be a Chapter 6 change, but I really, really hate this, and I will never get used to it. Wow, I completely agree with that. It sucks that we have to wait till Chapter 6. And I'm still, Epic Games, I love you, and I am one of your biggest supporters, but I hate the fact that you talked about in Chapter 5, Season 1, how you're going to fix the locker in the next few updates, and then we just heard nothing. Now we do have to wait till Chapter 6. If it's not fixed by Chapter 6, I'm going to strongly consider not spending any money at all in this game. I would be a bit annoyed if we had the same locker in Chapter 6 as we do now. One of the worst locker designs in the history of the game. More of the same things. I completely agree. I don't know why they keep updating the UI and somehow making it worse. Again, I am their biggest supporter. I'm Epic Games' biggest supporter on this platform. And I hate the locker more than anything right now. I really worry about the story for the rest of the chapter because we have Marvel, then OG, then another metaverse event. I'm afraid we'll have to wait until the next chapter to get the next good story. That's an interesting take because that would make sense. But then again, like we were talking about, Charlie and his ties with Marvel could play into effect here. Last time that the Marvel season was around, though, the storyline is fantastic, but that was also in Chapter 2. We have Hope with the Wanderer. There's potential for the storyline to really get great, but I'm more so with this comment, Bolt. We have the Marvel season, then OG, then maybe an ad metaverse event. That's going to be a toughie. My expectations are in check. If they give us a solid story, then I'm going to be very pleasantly surprised, but I don't know. I might be with you on that. We might have to wait until Chapter 6. Guys, speaking of Chapter 6, I want to point you to this video on screen right now. It's the rising difficulties of living and dating as a gamer, guys. If you are a gamer, you find it more difficult to kind of exist and especially date in society. This video might help you here, guys. Thank you for watching. Take care.